Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ignatius Amihere, and today I'll be presenting on reverse logistics, challenges, innovations, and sustainable practices for efficient returns and resource recovery. In fact, this topic sits at the intersection of profitability, customer experience, and environmental responsibility. As we move along, you will get to understand these key terms when it comes to reverse logistics. Now, here is our roadmap. I'll take you through introduction of reverse logistics. We will look at key dimensions. We look at factors influencing evolution, its relevance today, and we will examine some real-world cases and key strategies and innovations. We will discuss some trade-offs and existing frameworks and some challenges and future concerns. We will conclude by looking at what reverse logistics entails. So what is reverse logistics? In order to know what it is, you first have to acknowledge forward logistics. So forward logistics, or mostly that, which is the traditional logistics, we are looking at moving goods from the retailer or the manufacturer to the consumer. That is the basic definition of the traditional or the forward logistics. So here we are saying that we are moving goods from the factory to the consumer. But if you look at reverse logistics, we are looking at a journey backward. Okay, with reverse logistics, it is the process of moving product from the point of consumption back to the point of origin. And the goal is to recapture value and ensure proper disposal. So if you look at this formal definition, we are saying that it's the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient, cost-effective flow of raw materials, in-process inventory, finished goods, and related information from the point of consumption to the point of origin for the purpose of recapturing value and proper disposal. So reverse logistics is not just returns. It's a complete system where we are looking at proper disposal and recapturing value. Now let's look at the reverse logistics spectrum. Okay, so just as I mentioned earlier, reverse logistics is just more than returns. So when you look at reverse logistics, it covers 5 key activities, okay, which includes customer returns, okay, and some reason may be attributed to maybe the wrong size, or maybe the product is damaged or is unwanted. And we also look at recalls. Recalls companies mostly do recalls for safety and quality defects. Okay. We also look at repairs and maintenance, where we need to service the product to extend its shelf life. Then remanufacturing. With remanufacturing, we are restoring the used product to more or less like a new one. Okay. That we will mostly sometimes refer to as refurbishing. And finally, we look at recycling. Okay, recycling is when you recover materials for a new product. And all these things has one common goal. It is maximizing value and then minimizing waste. That is the main goal of the key activities. So we look at the basic or the conceptual dimensions when it comes to reverse logistics, and we will look at economic dimension. So from the economic perspective, okay, reverse logistics is about asset recovery. Okay, so if you look at it, when we are looking at asset recovery, we are looking at recapturing value from returned products. Okay, and Apple has taken advantage of this. In fact, Apple have turned this into a multi-billion-dollar business through refurbished products. So their refurbished products generate over $6 billion annually. Okay, which will give access to cost reduction, okay, new revenue streams, that is from the refurbished product, okay, and inventory optimization. Also in Ghana, Melcom operates a centralized return center where tested electronics are refurbished and resold, recovering a significant value that would have otherwise been lost. So what we are saying here is that if you are able to bring back those products, those 40 products, you can repair them and sell them at discounted prices, which will help recover some of your initial amount. Now we also look at the environmental dimensions. So environmentally, reverse logistics is the backbone of the circular economy. Okay, so if you look at remanufacturing, we only use 85% less energy than new manufacturing. Also with e-waste, we are looking at a stream, or is the world's fastest growing waste stream, 50 million tons, okay, annually. We are also looking at in Ghana, where Agbogboshi is transforming informal e-waste recycling into safer, more regulated operations. Okay, right now, some of the things that the scrap yard and other things have been regulated informally, that we are able to turn some into useful products again. Now, with the operational dimension, that is where there is a problem, because operationally, reverse logistics is very complex. Okay, it's very, very complex because of its uncertainty, especially the unknown timing, the quantity, and the conditions of returns. You don't know when returns will come, what conditions they will be in, or what to do with them. Okay, and the key is making rapid disposition decisions. Okay, and we are looking at whether an item should be restocked, refurbished, recycled, or disposed of. Okay, so we mostly look at information flow, where we track returns from consumer to the final disposition. Now, from the customer perspective, or the customer service lens, returns are very, very competitive. It is a competitive weapon, and mostly when clients experience returns, it builds brand loyalty. They are loyal because they know that if anything goes wrong, they can easily return the product and all that. Okay, and we are looking at 92% of consumers will buy again if returns are easier. Just as I mentioned earlier, if I buy something and I can easily return them, why not? It will always encourage me to patronize a particular product. And 67% check return policy before making a purchase. Okay, aside we patronizing it, it also builds trust. Okay, it creates transparency, it is hassle-free returns, and it builds the customer confidence. We also look at competitive differentiation. Okay, so here we are saying that return policy is a key battleground in e-commerce. Example in Jumia Ghana understand this very well. Okay, their clear return policy and multiple drops off points across major cities build trust and drive repeat purchases in Ghana's growing e-commerce. Now let's look at what is driving reverse logistics. Okay, now there are four main factors that are driving the evolution of reverse logistics. The explosion of e-commerce, rising consumer expectation for easy returns, growing sustainability awareness, and increasing regulatory pressure through extended producer responsibility laws. Okay, so these are some of the key things that are, if you look at e-commerce like that, return rate is between 15 to 30% versus 5 to 10% for brick and mortar. as I said, consumer expectation. Consumers are expecting to be able to return items easily, freely, okay? And with sustainability awareness, consumers prefer brands with circular practices and all that. Now, the return tsunami. We are saying that e-commerce has created a return tsunami. Okay, there's an estimated over $500 billion annually. Okay, and Ghana's e-commerce market is projected to reach $2.5 billion by 2027. Okay, and we are saying that returns management is becoming critical operational priority for local retailers. When you look at urban centers like Accra, Kumasi, and Tema, it accounts for about 80% of orders online. Now, reverse logistics in the modern economy. We are looking at its financial impact. Okay, what is reverse logistics financial implication? Okay, and we are saying that first and foremost, the impact is very, very enormous. Okay, if you look at US retailers alone lost over 800 billion. That is 816 billion in 2023. Okay, and if we do reverse logistics effectively, we will be able to recover 50 to 70% of the product value. And we also look at strategic importance. Okay, now reverse logistics is no longer a cost center as it has been envisaged. It is now a profit center. If you are able to do it efficiently, you'll be able to recover reasonable product value. Okay, and it is now a key differentiator in competitive markets. Also, we are also looking at economic and environmental, social, and government factors. Okay, we are saying that reverse logistics investors are mostly likely to scrutinize circular economic capabilities. Okay, and we are saying that the imperative that investors and consumers are increasingly demanding sustainability, and this is a major concern when it comes to modern economy. And lastly, we are looking at supply chain resilience. Okay, recovery of materials hedges against supply disruptions. Now let's look at global leaders when it comes to reverse logistics, and we will look at the famous Apple. I'm sure we all use mostly in Ghana. People are lovers of Apple products and all that. In fact, the major challenge with them is managing returns and the end of life of electronics logistics. But they didn't let these challenges weigh them down. That is where the innovation of their Daisy and Dave robot came by. And this helped disassemble iPhones to recover materials. Okay, and we are saying that their certified refurbished program offers full warranties, and their trade-in program drives customer loyalty. And we are saying that they are able to divert over 1 million devices from the landfills, which actually might have gone into waste and all that. But with these activities, they are able to recapture value. Now let's look at a video on how the DC robot disassemble iPhones to recover important materials. Okay, so our second company is IKEA, a Swedish-based company. Okay, their major challenge is large, bulky furniture returns. And you know, if you are able to return furnitures, you know how challenging it can be because furnitures are bulkier and all that. Okay, and they have come out with some innovations. That is their buyback program, where customers are able to sell back used furniture for a store hot credit. They have their as in section, as it can be viewed here. Okay, in every store for refurbished items, and the circular hubs for the spare parts. Okay, and they have indeed collected over 200,000 tons of textiles globally, and they aim to become fully circular by 2030. Now we look at H&M Group. Okay, H&M Group is a fashion, what do you call it, store, and mostly what they do is they do in what textiles, and their challenge is the fast fashion returns. Some people buy clothes today, maybe one, just as I mentioned earlier, one way or the other they are not able to fit very well, they want to return them and all that. So they have a garment collection point in all stores, and they partner with recycling innovators. Example is the Lupa Texas company. There is a more of a transparent sustainability reporting. Okay, it's not as if they are hiding behind cameras to claim sustainability by doing otherwise. Okay, and we are saying that they have collected over 200,000 tons of textiles globally. We are looking at Ghana, reverse logistics in Ghana, and we are concentrating much on the beverage industry. So with the beverage industry, we are looking at Accra Brewery Limited and Guinness Ghana. And as you can see, here in Ghana, they have an excellent return or reverse logistics system. And it is one of the oldest, okay? One of the oldest and the most successful when it comes to logistics operation. Bottles are distributed to retailers or consumers. This is the process in which they do it. So bottles are distributed to retailers and consumers. Empty bottles returned through established network. Then bottles are sorted. They are mostly sorted, inspected, washed, and refilled. Damaged bottles are crushed and recycled. So by so doing so, they've been able to achieve 80% bottle return rate. There is a significant cost saving, okay, versus new bottle, because if you are able to do a new bottle, you know the cost that will go through than just cleaning and making the old ones available for reuse. Okay, there has also been reduced environmental impact. Okay, if these bottles were not brought back or the return policy was not there, you see them all scattered in the environment and all that. We are also looking at its support to local informal collectors. People who are able to collect these bottles and return them can at least get some earnings and all that. So indeed, it is a more beneficial when it comes to informal collectors. We are looking at reverse logistics in Ghana, okay, and here we are focusing on electronic waste. We are saying that even though we are looking at formalizing e-waste management, there is a challenge. And the challenge is that if you look at Ghana, Ghana imports over 200,000 tons of used electronics annually. And mostly in Ghana, I'm sure people are of the opinion that the home use products last even better than new ones, of which it can be disputed and all that. Okay, and I'm sure it can also be attributed to the fact that there isn't money to buy an original or a new product. Now the challenge again is agbogboshi is gradually becoming a symbol of what? Informal hazardous recycling area. And we are saying that the E-Waste Regulation Act 917 establishes extended producer responsibility, okay, and then it's organizing organizations like the Ghana National Cleaner Production Center, okay, are training informal recyclers in safe practices, and companies like what do you call it, Melcom, okay, because of their take back program, are also helping in this regard. We can also look at HB and Dell's collection partnership, and it has yielded a very good result. Okay, there is formal recycling capacity very increasing now. Agbogboshi is now transforming. Okay, its transformation is underway, and there's a growing awareness of safe e-waste disposal. Now let's look at how some electronic waste are recycled in Ghana and its benefits and impact as a whole.
Waste is a resource. We can quickly generate money with it. We can also forward it to other companies and they will take them as raw materials for the product.
Electro Recycling Ghana is a recycling company. Follow the 3 R's of recycling. That's reduce, reuse, and recycle.
When we receive the materials, we test it first to know those that are working and those that are not working.
If it works, we quickly refurbish or repair them and send it back to the market.
When the repairs cannot be done, then we move to the last stage, which is to recycle. Then we dismantle it and then we send it back into the manufacturing industry to create a circular economy.
When we dismantle, we put them accordingly in groupings.
We will separate the copper from metal and then from plastic.
We have monitors that come in, and we thought when we dismantle the monitors, there are still some essential parts of the monitors which can be utilized, which is the screen. Great minds came together and decided to repurpose the monitors, upcycle them to make televisions.
And that is called a TMD branded product, actually.
Before I said, may packaging, a better said, the voice in every assembly, the new man room, motherboard, wires in the room, and sana, a bamban, Amihere, Amihere packaging.
The basic symbol we are doing our casing, yeah, panel. We are the panel also, also. We make sure say the sensitive, amateur, we get fine. After that, we check everything, say their stickers and the screws are able to get we get fine, we motivate before say, can we move on to packaging side.
When I am about me, it means speaker, motherboard. It means scanning TV, inspiration. You are not making us to send a catastrophe, the screen better so a packaging is fine.
We can now understand countrywide that we have a problem with e-waste. So if we focus, it's capable of creating more jobs. It's also to get rid of the waste in the country.
Okay, so as we saw from the video, okay, electronic waste when managed properly is a resource rather than it envisaged cost. Now let's look at reverse logistics in Ghana again. But this time around, our focus will be on automotive sector. And what we'll be focusing on is Swami Magazine in Kumasi. I'm sure most of us have heard of it, okay? In fact, it is one of the largest informal automotive industry when we look at West Africa, okay? And there we have a lot of reverse activities or reverse logistics activities ongoing. We could see that used engines and spare parts are mostly recovered from imported vehicles, Okay, they also do remanufacturing of alternators, started and gearboxes. In fact, when we look at cars, car parts and everything, they are a greater hub when it comes to that. They also do metal recycling from end of life vehicles. So you could see that by their activities, vehicles who have reached end of life don't just go into waste. They exploit or take some of these parts and then refurbish them in a way that is useful to the economy again, or to human economy. Now, if they are doing all these things, we are looking at its significance. If they are able to recover bad engines and then use them for other things, what is its significance? So we are saying that it is able to employ over 200,000 artisans. So this one will even help with the unemployment rate in Ghana as a whole. And by doing so, they are demonstrating informal circular economy at a very big scale. In fact, if you've been to magazine before, it's a very big place, a very busy place where every other thing is ongoing over there. Okay, and this also represents a massive value recovery system. Okay, operating without a formal infrastructure. Even though what the activities are not formal, it is one way or the other helping the country, and it is a powerful example of an informal circular economy. We are looking at technology when we want to transform reverse logistics, and we cannot do so by leaving out artificial intelligence and machine learning. AIs are able to predict returns before they happen and automate disposition decisions. Okay, and computer vision inspects items in seconds rather than in minutes. So with the AI, inspections can be done more quickly and all that. When we are supposed to rely on human AI, we will not have the accuracy. Also, robotic sorts returns faster and more consistently than human beings, just as I mentioned. Okay, and these technologies are making reverse logistics faster, cheaper, and more accurate. We also look at innovations, okay, some business models for reverse logistics. And we are looking at product as a service. Here we are saying that product as a service, it is shifting from selling product to selling the outcomes. So instead of the customer to own the product, they will just pay for its usage. So you are paying for usage and you don't own the product. And by so doing, manufacturers are able to retain responsibility for the product life cycle. A greater example is the Volvo's car subscription, margins, and the denim leasing. Okay, where they are able to lease all these vehicles without actually you owning them. If you look at the centralized returns hub, we are looking at Jumia. Okay, Jumia has a centralized returns hub like facilities in Tema that consolidates returns for efficient processing. Okay, and returns consolidation services combine multiple returns to reduce the transport cost. Let's look at the concept when it comes to designing reverse logistics. Okay, crucially, reverse logistics success begins at the design stage, as has been envisaged here. Product designed for modularity, okay, durability, and recyclability are easier to recover value from. An example is the Fairphone modular smartphones, okay, which allows users to replace individual components. And this principle of designing products is indeed very fundamental. You can also look at Dell. Dell uses recycled ocean plastic in packaging their components. So in fact, it makes it very easy for them to be recycled. Now we will look at some inevitable trade-offs when it comes to reverse logistics. Okay, and we are looking at customer experience. Mostly, generous returns policy build loyalty, but we should also know that it will increase cost, because if more people are returning products, then you should bear in mind that the company one way or the other will incur cost. So in order to balance this, we should be able to use data to identify high cost and then low impact return scenarios. We also look at sustainability versus speed. And we are saying that optimal recovery takes time. Okay, but in the end, the customer too wants a faster resolution. In order to balance this, there should be a transparent communication about the recovery process. And we also look at centralization and localization. The centralized processing mostly is cost efficient, okay, but it increases transport. And mostly local processing reduces transport, but it requires more facility. And in order to balance this, you can go in for a hybrid models for different product categories. So some of them can be built locally, some of them can also be centralized. So you can balance between cost efficiency and you able to reduce transport. Now let's look at several frameworks, okay, and we can refer to them as the 5 R's of reverse logistics. And we are saying that returns, when you say returns, the meaning is when the customer returns an item, okay, and we are saying that we should focus on efficiency, speed, and satisfaction. We also have several of them, and when you look at the recalls, repairs, remanufacturing, and the recycling, they provide a comprehensive view of the activities that are involved, and each one requires different capabilities but contribute to the overall goal of the value of recovery. We also look at some global frameworks governing reverse logistics. Okay, regulatory frameworks are increasingly important, globally. And EU Circular Economy Action Plan and extended producer responsibility laws hold manufacturers accountable for end of life products. Okay, we also look at electronic waste. In Ghana, the Electronic Waste Regulation and the Environmental Protection Agency enforcement are creating foundation for formal reverse logistics systems. Let's look at operational frameworks for implementation. And we're saying that operationally, the closed loop supply chain model integrates forward and the reverse flows. And network designs frameworks guide decision on where to locate collection points and processing facilities. And performance measurement frameworks help track critical metrics, return rates, cycle times, and landfill diversions. Despite progress when it comes to reverse logistics, there are significant challenges that we cannot overlook. Okay, we are looking at lack of visibility. The lack of visibility makes it so hard to track items or returns. Okay, and also if you look at the dominance of the e-waste system, where 80% of e-waste recycling in Ghana is informal. Okay, and this help create quality and safety concerns, because there isn't any regulation or any guidance when it comes to the recycling process. And we are also looking at high processing cost eat into the margins, and infrastructure gaps, okay, and limited consumer behavior awareness further complicate all these matters. let's look at the unique challenges when it comes to the Ghanaian context. So in the Ghanaian context, in Ghana specifically, we face unique challenges, okay? And integrating the informal sector is very, very hot, essential. But it's very, very complex as well. And energy reliability affects manufacturing. That is our second point, okay? And road infrastructure, when you look at our road network, it is a major hot challenge, and it affects how we are able to collect these items effectively, okay, because of limited formal recycling facilities. And we also look at consumer awareness, where there's low awareness of proper disposal methods. Everybody is throwing things left, right, and center. Okay, there's a limited participation when it comes to formal take-back programs. And if you look at our regulatory enforcement, there are gaps. Okay, it is not that strict. There are gaps which is affecting the whole thing. Then there are also limited resources when it comes to monitoring and compliance. What is the road ahead? What are we supposed to watch? There will be a more hot, stricter EPR requirement globally, okay? Because we are going to see emerging stricter requirement going forward, okay? And we are saying that this will also bring about technological disruptions, okay? And AI-driven automation will help transform returns processing. Blockchain will also help in traceability when it comes to reverse supply chain. And we are also looking at changing consumer expectation demand, okay? And finally, resource scarcity will make recovery not just desirable, but very, very essential. Let's look at the future of reverse logistics in Ghana. And we are looking at African Continental Free Trade Area, which we say is a potential for regional circular economy networks. Also, youth entrepreneurship in recycling and refurbish is also growing immensely. And we need to invest, okay? There should be an increased interest in waste to value ventures. And we must address the ongoing challenge of e-waste inflows and invest in infrastructure to formalize the sector. And we can do so by making our, partnership formal, and strategically, we can recommend this, okay? That is, we strengthening formal informal sector partnership, investing in returns processing infrastructure, promote circular economy education and awareness, and we can leverage on the Africa Continental Free Trade Area for regional material flows. To conclude, these are some of the key takeaways. Reverse logistics is no longer cost center, it is competitive, and we are saying that it is critical for customer loyalty, sustainability, and profitability. And technology is the enabler, whether you like it or not. We need AI, robotics, computer visions, and all that. And we have to do so by investing in technology. Then we look at the context matters, or the context. In Ghana, we are saying that the informal sector is both a challenge and also an opportunity. And successful solution must integrate both the formal and the informal systems. Then we are looking at its future. The linear take, make, dispose is very unstable, okay? And reverse logistics, in fact, is the backbone when it comes to the circular economy. And what is it for organizations? Okay, organizations need to start tracking reverse logistics metrics. They need to invest in technology and infrastructure. They should be able to also design. That is the ability to integrate circular principles at product design stage. Partnership, very key. You should be able to collaborate with informal sector players and specialists. And also for Ghana, we need to formalize. We saw that most of our recycling processes are based on the informal sector. Okay, formalizing it will help create pathways to integrate the informal recyclers. And there should be education. Okay, there should be education where we should be able to build consumer awareness on returns and recycling. Innovation as well. Okay, very, very key. And for you, the audience, reverse logistics is a growing career field. So we should all consider looking at it as a career. Okay, and the skill you develop here will be increasingly valuable in the future. Thank you very much, and these are my references.